What is up, everybody? Welcome to the film review for LSU's defense versus Ole Miss's offense. Of course, LSU took the L, and I really think defensively, if you look at the game from a whole perspective, I don't think the defense played that bad at all. I actually think they played well. There wasn't really one thing that beat them. This is just a game where your offense did not perform very well. And, if you're LSU's defense, you're going against a really good offense, against a really good play caller, a really creative play caller, and they're going to get yards. Like, that's just the reality of facing a team as good as Ole Miss. And, to beat a team like that, you got to be locked in on both sides of the ball. And LSU just wasn't that. So let's take a look at a little bit of the film from LSU's defense versus Ole Miss's offense. All right, first play here, we get an explosive play, an explosive run up the middle. Like I said, there weren't a ton of these explosive plays, so we're kind of just picking and choosing here. But we do get a nice run up the middle, and this is really just a nice call from the offensive side of the ball. So, they're just going to run. It's going to be a zone. It's going to be an option play, right? They're going to run outside zone to our right, to their left, right? But with this back lined up here, they're going to bring him around, right? And they're essentially going to have him as the option, right? You have to worry about the quarterback, this guy, and this guy. So if you're the defense, you really have to have eyes on three, and that puts a lot of stress on Patrick Payton here, number 6, right? He has to worry about the quarterback and this other threat that the quarterback has to pitch the ball to. So really, he has to play so many hats in this one play, right? He has to surf down the line of scrimmage like he is here, right, to cut off anything backside by the guy that actually gets the ball. But he also has to honor the quarterback and this guy coming this way, because if the quarterback kept the ball, he can run it himself or he can pitch it back here, right? So he has a ton to worry about on this play. So you can see, he isn't able to quite surf down there, and the running back is able to cut that thing from the backside and get a nice amount of yards. So this is what having a good play caller on offense can do for you, right? Putting defensive players in binds to where they have to worry about so many different things that they don't really hit on anything. And, maybe had a chance there, but we missed the tackle, and they get an explosive run on us. Next one here, Ole Miss kind of catches LSU off guard. So if you look, Ole Miss, the quarterback, everybody in the backfield, they're going to look to the sideline like the play, like they do in college. We're going to change the play, look at the look, right? And when they do that, guess what? So you can see them looking, the quarterback's looking, running back's looking, they're looking to the sideline, trying to get the play. So guess what LSU does in return? They look to their sideline. Hey, are we still calling the same play? But this was deliberate from Ole Miss, because if you watch, the quarterback actually calls for the snap. He claps for the snap, really, when his head is still turned. Boom. See? He's trying to catch them off guard, and it works wonderfully, right? And they end up getting a big play out of it. Now it looks like, LSU was running some kind of hot quarters or a quarters blitz where you have, these guys dropping out like a cover 4 match, right? And the guy that ends up catching the ball is going to be the responsibility of this player here, right? But he's just played so far back, given so much cushion because of the blitz, and you pair that with being just caught off guard. It's just easy, right? It's like taking candy from a baby. You get a ton of yards on a play. This underneath defender has to go out here with the flat. You just have all this space for the quarterback to throw the ball to. Really nifty stuff from Ole Miss, if we're being honest. Now, this here is some sloppy defense for LSU, and they're allowing the quarterback to scramble and get the first down. It's really nice concept-wise, or excuse me, coverage-wise for LSU. Ole Miss is trying to run like a stopping route with a short post here, and it's just a half-field read for the quarterback. So as soon as he sees it's not there, which LSU does a nice job with the coverage, he's going to drop his eyes and take off running. And, LSU is just a little undisciplined, a little late with the stunt that they're trying to run, and it opens up a big space for that quarterback to scramble through. So they're trying to run a pick here with 40 weeks, and then they're trying to bring him here, and then this defensive line around him. But the defensive lineman was way too slow here, doing his job, right? So you can see Weeks, he's going on the pick, right? And at this point, we need to be disengaging if we're the defensive lineman and looping around way sooner than this. We just take way too long there, right? Way too long. And it allows this guard over here to recognize what's going on and get his head across and able to come and boom, pick up that guy just enough so the quarterback gets a ton of yards on the scramble. Next one here, another explosive run for the quarterback, and this is really just undisciplined defense. Linebackers not reading their right keys. 40 goes with the running back, right? We get a nice amount of yards from the quarterback on the ground here. You know, if you look at it, it looks like man coverage across the board. So the linebacker, I assume, has 5 in man coverage. That's why he goes with him, and it opens up this thing here for the quarterback. So they're going to run quarterback counter bash, right? So quarterback is going to keep the ball. He's going this way, but the bash part comes from the back being away, right? And on top of taking this linebacker with him, it's just going to create space for this quarterback. Now, normally in counter, you're going to pull a guard and you're going to pull, a tackle or a H-back. But this time, Ole Miss actually pulls their center in a tackle, which is really impressive for the center. And the center's going to pull, kick out, tackle up to the second level. And I mean, you can see what sending that back away does, with the man coverage there. Linebacker follows. We get the kick out block from the center. And we do have 44 that gets in the backfield, right? From the backside. But I mean, at this point, we have to make that tackle. Right? We have to make that tackle. But the quarterback ends up following his blocks. And good things happen when you follow your blocks. Or bad things if you're an LSU fan, obviously. Next one here, this is a 3rd down and 10. Okay. And, a lot of the times in this game when LSU gave up plays like this, it was really the result of poor tackling more than anything. Like right there, missed tackle. And we allow him to get 5 to 7 extra yards. This is a 3rd down and 10. Okay. And Ole Miss, they're going to complete stuff. They're a good offense, right? And when they do, we have to make sure we can break down and get back to the fundamentals, make a tackle, right? Here's the 1st down marker. He's going to run this route to about right here. Stop. Quarterback puts it on him with some nice anticipation. He makes the catch, but he catches this thing, behind the sticks. At this point, DB sees it, ball's in the air. We have to be able to make this tackle and get a stop and make it 4th down, right? We cannot miss that tackle right there. We missed that one. Maybe still a chance right here. All right, we're still behind the sticks, but we missed that one too. And like I said, we get 5 to 7 extra yards down the field. These are the type of plays where you look back on it and be like, man, if we would have got a stop there, who knows, right? But when you're playing a team as good as Ole Miss, it's the little things like this that add up over the course of a game. And then at the end of the game, you look at the scoreboard and you're wondering how you lost. Next one here, LSU is going to drop 8 guys into coverage. Okay, 8 into coverage. You cannot give up an explosive pass when you drop 8 into coverage. And that's what they do, right? It looks like they're playing cover 3. And, the deep safety, the middle third safety is cheated way over to this side. Right? I'm not sure why we're cheated so far over here when we have, I guess you could say you have more passing threats this way with 1, 2, and the running backs on that side. But we also have 2 over here that are split way out, right? So I don't love playing this far over here, right? Because all it does is, what do we know the weakness of cover 3 is? It's the seams. And guess what Ole Miss does? They see that safety way over here. This quarterback fakes it right, right? As if we didn't need the safety any more over this way. And I mean, there's just nobody there for him. I mean, I could probably complete that pass. Just too easy. Way too easy if you're Ole Miss. Now, obviously we do get the fumble, but you can't overlook like what happened before the fumble. Next one here, we get an explosive play over the middle to this receiver against man coverage. And really, it's the distractions from what Ole Miss has going on underneath. So they're going to, send this guy out to the flat, and then they're going to fake the ball to the running back, and then he's also going to fall and fake to the flat, right? And what that does is it pulls these linebackers, right? This is man coverage. This is man coverage. Now, Weeks, I assume, is the one who's supposed to stay and be the whole player for any types of crossing routes, but he also gets pulled and distracted by these 2, right? And it just helps open up that crossing lane or that passing lane for the quarterback right there to make a throw and get an explosive chunk, right? And, number one, the play action does a really nice job as well. Look how far the linebackers get sucked up into this thing, right? And then on top of that, you follow the distractions, the eye candy. And that's what we get, an open passing lane. I mean, maybe we can see it better here from the end zone view. Yeah, I mean, look at that. Boop. That easy. Then here on this Ole Miss touchdown, they're down at the goal line. They're going to motion a receiver across the formation into sort of a bunch set. But you can look, no receiver follows him, right? And you end up with, nobody follows him or bumps over. And you end up with 2 DBs over here versus 3 receivers. Now, you can count Perkins if you want to make it 3-on-3. But even then, the leverage for any of these guys to go outside, I mean, look at this. Like, there's nobody across from this guy. He could easily just run outside, right? It doesn't end up being him. It ends up being the point man. And with these guys sort of just acting as picks, right? But I mean, 3 versus 2, I don't like that. Or if you say 3 versus 3, just the leverage of the 3. And then also you have a running back to that side as well. So it's technically 4/3. So I'm not sure what went wrong with LSU's defense here. If they just had a miscommunication, nobody bumped over, if maybe Perkins was supposed to bump out and the line's supposed to shift, to cover where he would have been. I don't know. Either way, this is just way too easy of a touchdown here. I mean, just wide open. There was nobody in the flat. Touchdown. Again, here on this completion, another instance of the linebackers just being undisciplined here. Right? Like they fall for the eye candy again, the fake toss to the running back, the tight end here, or number 8, whatever he is, and it opens up the crossers. Like, look at the way the linebackers bite on this. 3 of them go this way, right? I mean, it's just too easy. Undisciplined football, this game from LSU's defense. Just uncharacteristic of them for this season. Next one here, 3rd and 14 in the 4th quarter, and we just cannot give this up. 3rd and 14. So LSU is going to drop out and play cover 2, right? And, this linebacker is going to be the middle player, the whole player, and he's going to have to open up to the passing strength, which is the 3 receiver side. So he's going to have his back turned to the solo side here, right? Because, if you look at it, solo side receiver has 1, 2, really 3 zone defenders over 1 guy, right? This should not be where the ball is caught, and Perkins does a nice job of feeling it, right? He sees him, he sees the route, he gets his hips flipped, and he feels it, right? He knows this receiver is behind him running this route, but he just doesn't get there in coverage, man. Just doesn't get there in coverage. This is, first of all, a really good throw by the quarterback. But when you have like 3 over 1 guy, you just cannot let this receiver catch the ball here on 3rd and 14, right? I mean, it's a really good call from Ole Miss. But he just cannot complete this pass. Let them complete this pass on a 3rd and 14, man. Trying to run some games up front. Protection holds up. Quarterback just zips it in there. Brutal. All right, this is a 2nd and 6. What do we have? About 3 minutes left to go in the game. LSU's down 1 score. I mean, we just can't be letting off runs like this when we need a desperate stop. We cannot do it. It is inexcusable, right? And to me, defensively, we mess up with our run fits, especially at the defensive line position, maybe Gooden. So, it certainly looks like to me, Patrick Payton's going to have the edge. Should be right here. Edge, linebacker, right? So there's a good look at it, right? Of what it should look like. Okay. Here. I assume 33 weeks would have here, right? And then the safety will have anything cutback related. But watch Gooden here. He tries to make a play. So he's in his gap now, which is fine. Peyton has the cutoff. But look at him. He loses gap integrity, tries to get rid of his guy and make a play in the backfield. And guess what? That makes 33 weeks have to come off of his gap, which is right here. Okay. He gets him out of position. And it just sets up a run for the running back. So this is a good example of how really one guy freelancing can make the whole thing look bad. Because remember, the gap that is actually ran through by the running back was initially Gooden's. Everything would have been taken care of, but undisciplined football. And then a 4th and 3 to ice the game. I mean, yeah, I couldn't tell you what we're trying to do here. We motion into this bunch again. We're going to go to the number 8 in the flat here, and there's just nobody with him, right? Just looking at this thing and the way it plays out, We have Perkins end up blitzing off the edge. I don't know if he's supposed to peel with 8 to the flat. I mean, it certainly looks like somebody, because it looks to me like, DB back here has the deep route. 11 has the underneath guy, inside underneath guy. Somebody has to have outside. And the only other guy over there is Harold Perkins Jr. So I don't know. I'm not in the meeting room. I don't know what they're being taught, but that's just what it looks like to me. But end of the video, LSU defense way better than they played against Ole Miss. They're better than this. They can bounce back. They have the talent. They have the coaching. But just really a sloppy game from them overall when they've played so well over the course of the season so far.